In 1989, American academician and frequent CEO retreat faculty member Francis Fukuyama posed a provocative question, asking whether the decline of communism signaled the end of history. Months later, the Berlin Wall fell, and 2 years later, the Soviet Union dissolved. As authoritarian governments and statist economies crumbled, the world seemed on an unstoppable course to liberal democracies and free markets. 25 years later, in 2014, the world witnessed what political scholar Walter Russell Mead called a return of geopolitics. 2014 was a year in which Russia effectively annexed Crimea and civil war raged across eastern Ukraine. From seemingly nowhere, the upstart violent extremist group ISIS demolished the Sykes-Picot borders of the Middle East and grew in global influence. Authoritarianism strengthened elsewhere around the world, with the most recent Freedom of the World Index recording an overall drop in citizen freedom for the 9th consecutive year, with nearly twice as many countries suffering declines as registering gains, 61 to 33. 2015 has been no smoother, with terrorist attacks in the heart of Paris and incidents elsewhere across developed and developing countries alike. The Middle East continues to boil. ISIS has further expanded its control in Syria and Iraq. There is war in Yemen between an Arab coalition led by Saudi Arabia and Iranian-backed Houthi rebels. In the South China Sea, tensions grow. The region's rising power, China, is constructing artificial islands and aggressively patrolling disputed waters, while its neighbors grow more nervous about the future and the United States military increases its presence. Europe struggles with 3 crises: Russian aggression, a refugee and migrant crisis spilling forth from the Middle East and North Africa through the gateway of Libya, and the possibility of both a Grexit and, with a re-election of a conservative majority government in the United Kingdom, a potential Brexit. In the United States, a president who once staked his reputation on ending wars abroad is stretching for legacy achievements, including restoring relations with Cuba, a nuclear deal with Iran, and new global trade agreements. Meanwhile, U.S. politics are slipping into the undertow of the next presidential election, in which defining the United States' global role over the coming decade will be front and center in a time of such uncertainty. In 2015, leaders around the world are asking themselves, is this the end of history?